Good morning, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of Market Check, brought to you by BB. There is no second best daily YouTube live stream to talk about markets. Welcome, guys. Happy Wednesday. You are joined by me, Tommy, also known as Snorlax, and of course, also Chef Jackus and Big Country Tuck. Welcome, guys. We're going to have a great show for you today. As the title says, is Bitcoin going to send or pretend? Ironically, I kind of think it's actually ETH that's holding this market strong right now, holding certain altcoins strong. We're going to discuss it on today's show in a little bit more detail. But before we can get too deep into that, right, before we can talk about Bitcoin, ETH, I'll try to spare you the Solana pair talk today. Before we can get started on that, though, if you guys could smash the like button, I know, as always, we would be very appreciative of you guys doing that. But don't make me look at soybeans today. Please don't. But about the market, equities once again, just kind of slow grinding higher, vol crush. We'll revisit that. I think we'll revisit that sector of the market if we start to see volatility ramp up again. But for now, it has very much been a crypto summer, right? Or we're kind of leading towards a potential crypto summer with Bitcoin. It took all-time highs last week. Obviously, we swept those highs. Was it last week or 2 weeks ago? I can't even remember at this point. We've been hanging up here for so long. And now Bitcoin's kind of slow bleeding off the high, but at the same time, we're seeing this rotation into ETH. We've talked a lot about, obviously, where we think Sol ETH is headed, potentially ETH BTC as well. But right now, when we kind of look at the slate throughout the market, to me, it looks like ETH is very much, the strength that it's showing is holding up the altcoin market. Maybe we're waiting on that staking ETF announcement. Who knows? Do we get the pullback before that happens? I guess that's anybody's guess. But what we can respect, right, is how strong ETH has been, how strong certain ETH beta has been, how weak certain Solana beta as well as Solana USD has been. That's kind of self-explanatory given the pump fund announcement that we got yesterday. I'm sure we'll talk about that as well. But it's looking like a market of haves and have-nots, like something that we've discussed, or a concept that we've discussed a lot on this show. So we will see what ETH gives us. But I think it's pretty clear when we look at our watch list right now, as long as Bitcoin's not immolating, this is kind of an ETH-led market I would say for probably the next few weeks at least. So what are we seeing in the markets, guys? What do we think about this ETH strength against the rest of the market?
Do you see this, Tommy? Do you see what I see right here?
I see it, yeah.
You see it. You see it. It's time. I was worried about this when we were up here. I was like, this is only the third. But, we know what happens. When we get the fourth tap at resistance, we usually bust through. I think, I'm sorry if the audio is bad. My mic is not working, so it's on the computer audio, everybody. But
your audio is fine.
Is it?
Yeah.
As I was telling you, Tucker.
It really doesn't make that much of a difference. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's either you have a good. Are you on laptop?
No, it's a desktop.
Okay, so wait, and what mic are you using then?
Well, I was using the one Max had, a little Shure,
Yeah.
Like the arm, like this arm thing,
Yeah.
But it quit working, so we're just on regular old, I don't even know, speakers.
Speakers mic.
Like just the desktop thing.
Yeah, but there has to be mic somewhere.
I think it's just built in. I don't know.
Okay.
Study Apple exceptionalism.
But it's a pretty decent mic, not gonna lie.
Okay, I'll take it. But yeah, anyways, I think Ethan's about to send here, guys. Hopefully.
Yeah, I'm not sure that ETH is ready to send, but it's holding exceptionally well and definitely the best of the market. And I just love it because we know that once ETH breaks this And I really think that, the move that we had early in May already solidified it. But further break to 3K and above at some point is just inevitable, in my opinion. And that obviously leads to 4K, and 4K leads to the break of 4K and all-time highs, and that leads to the alt season. So I think it's coming. I think we have a very exciting end of the year, and probably the next one too. And the fact that it's holding so good, I do not want to jinx it, right? But the fact that it's holding so good is just a sign, in my opinion. I think we are seeing a visible noticed for after a very long time that like the institutional bit is truly coming to not just ETH but the whole DeFi space, and it's just very, very positive. And at the same time, we are seeing lots of other shit being weak, and that's just nature healing, it seems.
I think it's probably too a lot of capital flight that we're seeing from Solana coming into ETH, and maybe that is kind of, I wouldn't say that capital is going from like meme coins on Sol to, like Aave or Maker on ETH, but I do think a portion of that capital is coming over to ETH, presumably to speculate. Maybe they're just coming over to Hyperliquid, obviously going through something like Arbitrum or just D-Bridge, who knows, but I do think we are some of the strength that we're seeing on ETH. I have to imagine is some capital migrating away from Sol.
Could be. It probably is though, because if you going to pull up the Sol ETH chart, it's probably going to enter perpetual bleed. So yeah, I think Sol ETH has entered that very dangerous zone. There is no going around it. If I'm going to actually just quickly screen share, like to me it's broken down. There is no really going around it. And as you said, Tommy, that capital from Sol is going to be entering easier. I was making a tweet a few days or week ago that are we going to find out what's down there? And I think we are going to find it out. And I think this can just, more or less, I think it's going to bleed all the way down here. I don't really see a reason why not. I see huge fundamental shift just as technical. I think this one is even more driven by like real fundamentals. But, it's good that it's showing on the technical side too. So I really don't see much reason. I suppose this is still a huge area, if I were to like look at it this way. But and yeah, the full confirmation really comes down below here. But generally speaking, there is no way that Sol is, it should have held. Like there is no way to say anything else than it just didn't. And as I said before, I think the trenches has extracted itself to the maximum through the past 2 years. So the narrative's kind of ended. And I think people need to believe and get rich again for the gamblers to be in full force and this chart to go up. So
yeah, and I know people in the comments are already going to say something about how we've talked a lot about Sol ETH this week. I do think, when we're talking about huge paradigm shifts and huge moves in pairs, there's a reason we're talking about it, right? Because it's like you said, Jack, is on a fundamental and technical level, it does seem like this trend has not just broken, but it is actively breaking. I think people are maybe a little bit skeptical that, yeah, you're probably flooding Sol into the bottom of these moves on the pair, locally speaking. And I would say absolutely not. I don't think this has even gotten started going down. Obviously, Sol BTC is another story, but Sol ETH hasn't really truly broke. I mean, it's broken market structure, but we're talking about like high time frame structural breaks that have not happened yet. And these paradigm shifts are going to come over to ETH. Like, to me, it makes so much sense that we're going to see an ETH-led crypto summer, right? Like, ETH BTC, I have a little bit less confidence in, but things like Sol ETH communicating this to me, ETH USD strength today. I mean, even if Bitcoin kind of gives us the pullback that we've been expecting, I have to imagine something like ETH is going to hold up. I mean, structurally much better than I originally anticipated. Whether that's, you know, maybe it only comes down to like 2,500. That would be pretty insane strength if that's the case. You know, given some of the magnitude of some of the moves that we're discussing for other altcoins. But yeah, I mean, Sol looks ready to, or rather, the torch looks ready to be passed to ETH from Sol. And I don't think it's a case of the puck has already moved to ETH. I think it's actively happening as we speak, and people are still, I just think, slow to be able to make that transition, because they are, I think trenching has just become ingrained within the collective mindset of people who are trying to make it. You know, I can only make it in the trenches, or I can only make ridiculous ROI on Solana. If I go over to ETH, I can buy a token. Maybe I catch like 100% over the course of a few months. Maybe I take it to Hyperliquid where I can speculate. But I do think eventually that capital is gonna. Maybe we need a meme coin runner on ETH to kind of spark that huge capital transition. But I happen to have a few bags.
I'm not sure if it was one of you or someone somewhere, but I heard that base chain is going to be the new trenches.
I don't know about that, but definitely not for me.
That either, dude. All these Sol pair charts look horrendous, though, Jackass, that you were drawing.
That was just what I was going to also discuss, that no matter what Sol chart I put out, it's just looking horrible. And I really think it's more like, again, it's great that technical side of things is confirming too, but I really think it's mainly fundamental. Like the trenches, we really had we had occasional alts. There were opportunities to make money through the past 3 years, but the industry wasn't growing, at least by new money flowing in on the large scale. And although we had like institutional inflows for sure to some degree, but like the prices haven't reflected it yet, as most of those are anyways OTC. But that's another story. But what I'm trying to say is that the trenches, that's where everyone was, as you said, looking for those thousands of percent. But it's extracted itself. There were coins that were able to pump to billions before. Now the trenches isn't even able to pump. There were multiple coins that were able to pump to billions. Then they started to squeeze the liquidity into just single or few. Then the scale started to drop into millions, and now it seems like people are in just like sub 50 million market cap trenches tokens and not even able to pump those anymore. And I think the fundamental value is that, or reason is that the value has been extracted from all the people gambling. Like the rest just doesn't want to gamble, and there is no new gamblers, and those that have been in just are wrecked. Most of them are wrecked. That's the reality. I really actually do not know of many people, any, that that got rich of this Sol trenches meta. Some said that they made money, I suppose, on one runner or so, while obviously not disclosing how they lost it on those others. And anyone I've spoken to said that they lost money in Sol trenches. And lots of them just I refuse to participate anymore. And I think the charts on Sol are reflecting that. Like you even have Sol versus BNB, and I do not think BNB is doing much right now, or have been for some time. And you still have Sol, down performing. This chart is looking like it wants to go down. Sol BTC down, Sol ETH down. So I think that's just telling you that the meta will not be there for some time. Again, I think it will come again, but not before everyone gets super rich again.
I almost do think you kind of need some sort of meme coin on ETH to pop up for all of that mercenary capital to just start flooding into ETH. I don't think it will be flooding into base. I know that's kind of like popular opinion because mainnet ETH hasn't been really full of activity since like the beginning of 2023. But I do think that we are trending back towards that. That's just kind of my opinion. But yeah, no, I agree with you, Jack. It's like when we talk about people making money from the trenches, I know of like a handful, and the rest have just, I mean, like it's just buying lottery tickets with worse odds for some of them. And then obviously there are some insiders that I know that have done really well on Solana, but I also know they got that money through some fairly dubious means at the same time. So I thought it was interesting that Sol BNB pair that you had pulled up. It looked a little bit like the bonk chart we were looking at yesterday.
This is interesting chart. I'm not sure.
That is a controversial chart you're posting right now, Jack.
Soul Link, dude.
I was just thinking like what else I can chart Sol against. And I didn't even realize I've charted it like before.
Wow.
I suppose I can delete these. But yeah, you can see though. You can see it, right? Like this is a totally random, non-tradable chart, and yet you can see the levels being very clean, right? I don't think that's by coincidence, and I think they are. Therefore, you can use it. And again, looking at, and I mean, this could still go a little, which probably means link weakness. But again, Sol BNB is for sure tradable, and this chart just looks like
CZ maxis.
It wants to
Is
go
it
lower.
just Sol weakness, or do we think it's BNB potentially, getting a little bit more of a run also? I think the difficulty I have with Binance right now is not the chart, but just kind of Hyperliquid taking a lot of their market share.
Well, I think that BNB probably scanned so many coins and used that to dump on retail that now they have so much liquidity to prop up BNB again. It's just reality, let's be honest.
Well, somebody kind of exposed what they're doing with their spot market. I think it was last week, Trading Axe, the anonymous account, right? But seemingly in the type of circles that would be able to know that information. Also seems like he got sued by CZ right after he tweeted it.
Wait, I want to know more. What happened?
Let me pull up the exact tweet for you so I can read it. It's kind of long, so I don't think I'll be able to read the whole thing right now, but basically just talking about how market makers are incentivized to prop up Binance token for the benefit of their spot market. Where is it? Yeah, it's a long tweet, so I won't read all of it. Basically, he says, right, this is all alleged. I have to preface this by saying this is all alleged, right? We have no knowledge that it could be or could not be true other than this tweet. The Binance spot market is entirely propped up by trading firms like Amber using locked BNB they received from CZ. And he made sure to add in parentheses at the end. When he had rugged everyone's Binance equity, they have non-sellable, non-transferable BNB that they use to farm the launchpad and use as collateral in the spot market at a net loss. But they farm the market rebates, right? The BNB rebates that you get. So the spot market being propped up by BNB is essentially Binance giving market makers Alameda-style loans. And then at the end of the tweet, he said, my question to CZ is very simple. Can you confirm or deny that nearly 30% of the Binance spot market is propped up by locked BNB that certain Singaporean trading firms received in exchange for Binance equity after the ICO? So yeah, apparently he got sued right after he tweeted that.
Yeah. I mean, that sounds like it's like there is something to it, but
I mean, it kind of confirms what we've always known about like Binance shitters, that they're propped up by the BNB token itself. But I think, I don't think that should be a huge surprise to anybody that's been kind of paying attention. At the same time, it's like you said, Jackus, they pumped and dumped all these shit coins. They have enough liquidity at this point. You have to imagine to continue just keeping this token afloat.
I suppose the strategy is fake it until you make it, right?
It's kind of like the ultimate prisoner's dilemma, right? Like,
Yeah.
sure, you can sell your BNB, but all your other tokens are going to go to zero, so you're not going to.
It's sort of like Tether, right? Like Tether was also at one point like not
Yeah.
really collateralized, and nowadays it's the biggest stablecoin in the world, and it's trusted and used. And they faked it until they make it. And I suppose CZ is trying to do the same with BNB. You know, at some point it will just become too big, too entrenched into the system where
You could
it
argue it
will.
has already.
I think it has already, yeah, and it will hold, and it will be there to stay, and kind of work. But but obviously, the reality is that they probably used some of those shit coins, artificially launched and pumped, and then retail bought that and got dumped on, and they used that liquidity to. And I'm just speculating. It's just, none of this is confirmed. And I might be totally wrong.
I
We
mean,
are.
B looks like he wants to leg up again.
What
It
does?
does. Like
B does, bro.
yeah.
Look at that.
Look at this chart, it's shaping up for a monster breakout. And me looking like I've seen these in the past, this can, this can drop here. And it can stay here for another, few months. But you're looking for that, you're looking kind of for the breakout, sort of. So
yeah, it looks good. It looks good right there. I mean, what breaks 700? Probably get. I mean, 4 digits for sure. Probably more like 1100.
you can even still get this, right?
Yeah.
Like the breakout can be postponed, right? Keep that in mind. Even though this is looking like a Cheeto.
It took a long time for BNB to break out in 2020 and 2021. I remember that when I was studying the structure that it had before it. I mean, it went utterly parabolic in 2021. But it teased the breakout for, I mean, like a 2 or 3 month slow grind into the highs.
Yeah.
It's like one of those things where you look back as a crypto trader and you're like, damn, all I want is to be able to catch a move like that on 100x leverage.
I know.
And then you look at the chop that occurred right before it. And I mean, you have to be a little bit intellectually honest with yourself. You probably wouldn't have held through all the chop that occurred. Yeah. I mean, like, look at that occurred right before it went parabolic.
And exactly, you could have like the same level we are looking at today. That could have been this one, the same level where you are expecting that big breakout and it's going to come. Well, that could have been this, right? And it broke out, and this is where you think, oh, 100x leverage, and let's say you even maybe you catch it here, and then it pumps and goes back to your break even. Are you able to hold through it, waiting for it? And then it kind of slow grinds up, and then you're seeing other stuff fly without you, and it keeps going like this. And then it's easy in hindsight, but in reality, as Thomas said, here you can be thinking like, oh, this was the distribution, and we are retesting here. And then it breaks out right again, and you're like, oh, finally, finally my time to make it 100x. And then fuck, they swept the high, and you go down below here. Are you able to hold through it? And then look, like it really takes lots of time. So before it, and then it actually does it, right? But you will not catch it on the leverage side. You'll catch it if you are spot long and you can chill, so you're spot holding through this, you feel comfy, but you'll likely not catch it through the leverage side.
I can kind of tell the way they paint BNB now on a lower time frame is they will squeeze out shorts or hedges because obviously BNB can be used as collateral to trade and for fees. They'll kind of squeeze out all the hedges. And then there's usually, like, on a lower time frame, you'll see there's almost no bid. It just kind of they'll just drop it until RSI gets into oversold territory, and then they'll just scoop up your liquidation and, you know, carry on. At least, you know, when I was trying to trade BNB, I think towards the end of 2025, that was something that I kind of noticed.
Yeah. By the way, guys, Max might not be here today, but he can occasionally come. So, you know, don't forget it.
Don't forget to smash the like button. That's real.
I'm just going to enjoy. Yeah. There it is. I like that one. The Bernie.
Bernie.
No, where's the one with the guy with holding the beer?
Pulling the beer.
Pulling the beer.
Oh, I know.
That's the best one, Jack.
I have 2 of those.
Yep, there it is.
I have one for the terminal and one for the like button.
Naturally. Let's just do Bitcoin real quick, man. Like that's I feel like we haven't done Bitcoin on here in a minute.
Just talk about it, or
yeah, it's just like, where are we going next 2 weeks? You know, like I'm pretty sure we're all decently bullish this summer, at least for the next 6 weeks, 7 weeks. But like 2 weeks, where are we going?
Take it.
Oh, did you handed it off? See, you handed it off.
I untom it.
Yeah, you reverse. Yeah,
it's called untommy.
Untom. All right. Well, I of course would like. We're just gonna start real high time frame. I of course would like to see us stay above there. Moving down. I would also like us above there, right? I wouldn't really want to see too far below there. I wouldn't want to see this. I know you want this, Jackets, but I think if we can hold like this little support on the daily.
Do you think those lows are holding?
These?
Yeah, you can go on the weekly. It's the same.
These?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think
this case, but I could see them holding.
I could see them holding too. I just don't like the fact that this little, people have been drawing this, I'm sure, right? Like the fact that it's slanted up is not bearish for me. I don't think it's going to play out at all because of the way it's slanted right now. In my experience, that's been the case. If it's like this, if it's like, then it's bearish.
Okay.
But if it's slanted up, it's one of those failed head and shoulder situations, bull market stuff. But
I mean, it looks like a bigger version of the consolidation we put in to get us up here, right?
Yes. Yeah. Right, like the same kind of lows.
Yeah, but the different context, because that one before, it was literally so many sideline people who were waiting for that retest that didn't come. Right now, after all this move, this one is taking much longer time, which is important. And we've already broken all-time highs. And so now it would make sense. It's obviously not a guarantee. Nothing is, but it would make sense to drop here because you have lots of people FOMOing. You had lots of added open interest here, while price refused to go higher too. Again, on its own, not something to to necessarily mean straight higher up, but yeah.
I would say I'm kind of expecting a drop still, just based on my read on altcoins, unless we get a headline, unless we get some sort of, specifically, I think the ETH staking headline is potentially being baked into the market as we speak, right? I mean, ETH is absurdly strong. There are a few reasons that you can ultimately point for why that is, but I do think, if we see a spike from here, it's probably because, okay, hey, ETH staking got approved. ETH will lead the rally. Whenever, that first leg is done, you probably see a huge washout on everything that's not like adjacent to ETH. But no, I do think in general, ETH will probably be what leads the market higher this summer. I think that the June option structure for Bitcoin is very positive ultimately, but I think kind of when we get that first leg out of whatever dip this looks like, even if this is the bottom already, whenever Bitcoin kind of gives you that first move, I imagine it'll likely cool off and ETH will take the reins a bit more deeply. So I don't know. I think given that I'm viewing it as like an ETH market right now, I could see the possibility for a spike higher, specifically because of ETH staking headlines. But I think when I look at other altcoins, they're kind of screaming to me that they want lower. And I feel like we've seen this price action before, where it looks really strong throughout this cycle. You've kind of like had that first leg down, and the market is, giving you mixed signals about whether or not we are about to leg higher again. And the argument for both, I think, is pretty sound. But there are some altcoins that might be communicating the trend a little bit more clearly. And those are going to be the ones that, I mean, I guess we'll just see who's right. But, I think, like I said, you can make a good argument for both.
Here's where you can't be right here, man.
I don't think that we're going to chop like that again.
That would be brutal.
I'll tell you why I don't think we chop like a range to the degree that we saw in 2024. It's just because if you zoom out on a higher time frame, right, we're you can't really have another 6 to 8 month consolidation in the parabola Bitcoin's in. Just my opinion.
Yes.
And if you do, it would have to be like here, If we were just gonna stair step up, like you can't. I just don't think you can do it again right here. But
well, I think obviously I have to remind this every single day that regardless, right? And again, I think that the drop makes more sense than not, locally speaking. But in either way, this is just incredibly bullish looking chart for the rest of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't see any technical nor fundamental reason for us to hit new lows.
No, I agree with that. Especially the way equities have shaped up at this point. Like, I mean, the ES, the NQ, they're almost certainly going for the highs at this point. Like what does the bearish scenario look like? I think best case, right, you're talking about a sweep of all-time highs, and then just hoping for a super negative headline. But, I look at that, and it does not look bearish to me, especially, when we head into the summer. We didn't drop in the back half of May. The June OPEX can be a very bearish catalyst, but we did not drop into the end of May. We've kind of got supportive flows now. You're going to have fund managers taking the summer off. It's just not going to be that. It's hard to imagine something causing that much selling in equities. So, to me, that's kind of like the perfect environment for ETH, right? Because Bitcoin's been largely institutionalized, catching a bid with equities. Maybe it just kind of floats up with the S&P and the NASDAQ, or just goes sideways. But to me, that's kind of perfect for ETH to catch that native bid. We've seen ETH outperformance in the summer before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, everybody needs some ETH outperformance, man.
Against Bitcoin, are you talking about like 2017 or something?
Oh, we saw it in 2022 also.
Yeah, this was the summer. Well, it topped in, okay, yeah. You had outperformance in the summer. You said 2022?
Yeah.
I mean, this little move.
We kind of had it in 2020 also.
I mean, yeah, right here.
So maybe we see Bitcoin grind up. I still think 120, 130 is a good spot for it in June and July, but ETH is really, I think dips are for buying on ETH, and if you're taking shorts, it should be on Sol. That's kind of my focus for the market right now.
I still don't see how BTC is breaking from here and is just going to 130K though. Like the moment Bitcoin breaks from here, I really see like 180 minimum.
I see what you're saying.
Right, like this is a big reaccumulation zone that's taking months, and when it goes, and it goes much stronger. So this is really time for the parabola to start kind of kicking in, because we had two of these big reaccumulations, one last year, one this one, and there is kind of no room for just having a mild upside. It's it needs to be. It's kind of physics in the charts, pretty much.
Inertia.
But I think again, I think this. I think the markets, like the drop. It's not only that here the local one. I don't even think it like just makes sense locally, but I think it's necessary for that energy of the breakout. But maybe we just keep going straight from here. Like I'm ready for it. But I think again, I think recharge. Recharge, and then you go.
This would be a little recharge for you.
I think a little deeper, but yeah, something on that basis. I think this drop is too little, but yeah, again, like retest, that sub 100K, and then that would do it. Then we are really talking details of like, what lower time frame sweeps do we make? How much time do we stay down there for like last pieces of accumulation? But that basic idea of this recharge would be completed for me.
Yeah.
This drop is already, by the way, this drop is already taking the longest time of this entire run up since April, which is good.
Yeah, I definitely would not want to see it lose any of this. This, yeah, you can't do that.
I mean, he could be, right? He could be, but in that sense, we go into the largest recession we've ever been in recent history, because BTC is not going down alone. It would take everything with it. On this leg up, Bitcoin was the strongest. It was even stronger than SPX, which is for the first time. It was always SPX leading to new all-time highs of a multi-month swing. This time it was Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin were to hit new lows, then it would have to be SPX hitting new lows. And if that's the case, again, you're facing the largest recession probably since 1929. Not to mention, though, that I think he wasn't in the camp with me of hitting sub 2K. At least that's what he said under my tweet, that he thinks the capitulation came in February. But yeah.
I mean, for me right here, like this actually makes a good. I kind of doubt now after looking at this.
Sorry, one more. If that's the take, I think the last time he was looking for the like a 3 drives, and this being the cycle top. If he hasn't changed his outlook, and this is the one that I remember.
Mhm. I think I don't know, but yeah, I don't think you can sweep those lows and not go to like 92K after looking at this. Like, I don't think you're gonna do this.
Me neither.
I think if you come down here, you're
Yeah.
coming down here, right? Like, I don't think you're gonna sweep these lows and go. So from there, I think it's either we're gonna hold the point of control and go, or you're gonna do this, basically, or this, right? Like
Yeah.
I don't think there's a whole lot of in between.
Can you pull up the Intel chart, Tucker? I mean, when we talk about like the anatomy of a bubble, I don't want to like pull a fractal or anything, but just kind of, I feel like Intel's tech bubble run gives you a good idea. Like we're stacking high time frame consolidations on top of each other. And that can often occur for years. Like if you look at Intel, this behavior that we're seeing on Bitcoin occurred for a very long period of time before it eventually topped. I don't know. I'm not going to try to say what consolidation I think Bitcoin's in. You can probably deduce that on your own. But, you know, what we do see on these attempted, at least on some of the upper ones, on these attempted breaks for price discovery, we got big pullbacks that were sharp and sudden, and they be recovered pretty quickly.
I know you think
part of a parabola.
I think we're right here.
We could be right there. I'm not entirely certain on that, right? Because it doesn't exactly look the same, but we do have some similarities that I am taking into account, right? We could be there. But I think this is to me a good look of like what a parabola is going to look like on Bitcoin, where you have these sharp sudden pullbacks, you grind back up to the highs, people long the price discovery all-time high break, they get flushed out, and then you give your next leg. So yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to say draw a fractal on Intel, paste on Bitcoin. I'm just saying behaviorally, like this is a great chart to kind of look at what parabolic price action is kind of going to look like. And we are stacking consolidations on top of each other on a higher time frame for Bitcoin in very similar fashion to this chart.
I think these line up decently well. Not that we have to do this, but if you're going to compare the two charts, I mean, this feels like our 8-month range. This feels kind of like what we've seen the last few months, right? Where you didn't quite double top, but then you just nuked hard. I think now you're kind of retesting here. Like, in my opinion, this kind of lines up with we go to 130, we pull back to like here. Everyone says it's over and we're going to go down forever. And then we just rip to 200. I mean, that would be lovely. But
I'll also say I don't even know if this has to be the Bitcoin chart, because if you look at that consolidation, the long one that's present, it looks a whole lot like Solana, which signals to me Solana has a lot more range, a lot more time before it re-enters price discovery. And I think, when we're talking about, because everybody wants to know, like, what's the length of the cycle so I can hold my bags for as long as possible without having to worry. But, if Solana is just going to be doing what Intel effectively did, it's going to be ranging for a long time before you even get like the parabola or the consolidation stacking on top of each other in parabola. So like, I don't think there are many similarities on the Bitcoin chart to the 2021 cycle top, which is kind of, I think, what topping at like 120 or 130 would imply.
So you're looking at Sol like this, basically.
Yes.
Jeez.
I think that's I think that's the correct look.
Yeah.
It will just take time for Sol. As I said, I think Sol has lots of room for that all-time highs, and it will take time now to get there. That's the period for underperformance of Sol to reset on all pairs. People give up on Sol, saying, hey, it's lost it. Because it will take time for this paradigm shift to happen. It doesn't happen, like, people are not able to maneuver on like a daily, weekly, or even monthly basis. So it really takes time to change those paradigms. And if you will see for the next year an underperformance from Sol, that will do it. And then I think Sol will rip faces again through new all-time highs.
I kind of feel like Solana had the opportunity to just like, I won't say literally go to zero, but like, you know, to break this uptrend that it's been in since the start of the bull cycle. That opportunity, I think, has come and gone. It's difficult for me to imagine this being a bearish retest for Sol before. I mean, if it is, it's going to like $40.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, for Sol, if you're gonna, I do like this Intel comparison, but I mean, maybe in there, this just took so long. You know, this took like 3 years basically. So
well, because we know that it takes much longer for stocks to do that, or at least it used to.
Yeah. But I don't know. What would this imply? Should we pull a fractal?
We can. I mean, I've been kind of taking that like.
I'm sure you have some object tree fun, Tommy.
Yeah, I mean, basically just kind of pulling from that that highest high within that Intel range and putting it on the highest high on Sol. I mean, it's telling me that either Sol is about to go to 200 before revisiting the range lows, or it's probably about to go to like 120, 130, and then just keep ranging all summer while ETH outperforms. But again, I mean, this is why I'm using Sol ETH to kind of dictate my view on the market, because either Sol's going to 200 with 0.05 Sol ETH, which is basically 4K ETH, or Sol is going to like 120, 130. And I think ETH will rebound much stronger than Sol did.
Are you looking for like this? Like you said, you put it on the highest.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically like my thought. Either we're going to make a higher high, or, you know, we're probably going to begin bleeding back into range low with spikes here and there while ETH dominates the market.
Mm-hmm.
As it should.
This would be crazy.
That would be crazy.
Yeah, this is what I've also been saying. Exactly like something like that. Like, you know, obviously, you know, just take this fractal as like not precisely. I don't think, you know, Sol's hitting new lows, but like, yeah, it's going to take some time for Sol to build this base. You can think of it sort of like BNB, what it's doing now, and it will take time before it will, you know, see that upside.
I will take the criticism, I guess. But yeah, no, I feel like this will be a good indication of maybe not just Sol, but also Nvidia as well, Jackus. I don't know what you think about that.
Of Nvidia, I think that's good looking. I don't see much bearish stuff about it, and not fundamental, not technical reason.
Well, I can tell you right now, ETH and AI going up would be bullish for my bags.
Blockchain and AI will be the dominating industries over the next 10 years. And I don't see how Nvidia isn't benefiting from it. Matter of fact, it's still obviously not percentage wise anymore, because, you know, it's just too big right now, Nvidia, in my opinion. At the same time, structurally, it's still leading. You know, it's close to new all-time highs again. You know, you can look at AMD, you can look at Intel, you can look at any semiconductor, and once again, you know, Nvidia is leading. And obviously, TSMC, you know, comes close, but all these others, you know, it is what it is.
Oh shit! JP Morgan to accept Bitcoin and crypto ETFs as collateral for loans.
Oh,
that's pretty cool.
That's going to be huge.
That's actually, I think, very bullish. But it's also, you know, we're inevitably tethering ourselves to TradFi in a way that we might end up blowing up the financial system, but that's okay because, well, it's not okay, but it's going to take a long time to play out. Like it's not going to be, oh, well, this is happening in 2025. Global market recession in 2025 imminent. No, I think it's like the wheels are turning 2026, 2027. We'll see where everything's at. But these are bullish developments, man.
Yeah.
The ETF thing, I think, especially because we're seeing so much Bitcoin and ETH custodied off native platforms now. TradFi people are going to finally be able to leverage their Bitcoin and ETH to maybe they buy altcoins or altcoin ETFs. Who knows? But if you have Bitcoin,
you're gonna make me come.
if you have IBIT as collateral and you're like, well, I'm up 100, 150% on this, maybe I will borrow against it to buy some Ethereum ETF. I don't know. Or Solana ETF. Or I'll get some super intricate debt structure that liquidity finds its way into the native system and, you know, we loop it a million times throughout DeFi, something crazy like that. I'm sure people will get creative. Bullish, though. I mean, that is a hugely bullish catalyst. That JP Morgan, of all asset managers, is communicating that, I think, says a lot.
Yeah.
How the tides have shifted, right?
I know.
Of course.
What does that mean? What do you guys think about Pump Fund? I feel like we should probably talk about that because we haven't mentioned it on the show.
The coin or whatever they made.
$4 billion valuation, $1 billion raise. You have to presume that's $1 billion of Solana tokens that are about to be sold.
I mean, you would have, as of like right now, that's probably already been, that effect has probably already happened, right? Like people have probably already.
You think?
I mean, probably.
For Sol, maybe. I don't know about Sol shit coins.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I almost wonder if it's going to be a bit like Trump, where a bunch of on-chain stuff on Sol just got like.
I mean, didn't we see that with like Barcoin yesterday? And like,
a little bit, yeah.
I don't know.
Barcoin got annihilated yesterday.
Yeah.
I guess it had pretty good buyback.
There was some rumor now floating around
about Farcoin.
Yeah, someone dumping it, I think, which caused that a big of a sell-off.
Well, I think people probably sold it to go buy the.
No,
right?
I'm not sure, but if you're gonna go like on H1. There was like a huge quick sell-off.
Yeah.
And I think it was something news-driven. Maybe somebody knows.
I think the real question is, are you guys buy the Pump Fund token?
No. No.
I'm seeing some people try to benchmark it to Hyperliquid, and I'm like, buddy.
No.
Buddy. One has a declining revenue and user base. The other is exponentially growing.
You love you some Hyperliquid, Tommy.
I do. I kind of think it's going to pull back here, obviously, because that's kind of confluent with the rest of my market thoughts. I like upper 20s. If they give it, I'm just going to shove probably more per. I think Hyperliquid's. I don't know if we quite hit triple digits this year, but I do think like $70, pretty doable this summer.
Mm-hmm.
And I also think they're going to do another airdrop. So if you have been trading on the exchange, you're probably going to get rewarded again.
It's not going to be as crazy as the first one, right?
Or it could be. I mean, I was thinking about this week, like hypothetically speaking, what's the best way to advertise or incentivize people to want to come to your exchange that are still skeptical about trading there? It's by silencing people who are saying, well, you're probably not going to get as big of an airdrop the second time around, and giving maybe an even bigger one. Who knows? I don't know. If I were, obviously I don't have the equity, so I'm not giving it away, but I think that would incentivize quite a few people to get there. I also have to imagine if that does happen, you're in a downtrend, not an uptrend. For hype, that is. Like, by the time it happens, you're probably not in an uptrend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that type of thinking, Tommy. Let's hope they have the same type of thinking.
I certainly wouldn't mind getting another Thanksgiving airdrop. Come back to that next November. What do we think about Doge?
Doge. I don't. Doesn't look. It's not showing a lot of relative strength, right? I mean,
well, I think it should. I think it's going to head much higher, and I think $1 is inevitable. But if we are talking locally, then I think lower still. Although even if I zoom in, I could see a scam pump higher first to like 21 cents or slightly below, and then lower to like, I don't know, like 17, and then higher.
yeah, I don't love. I mean, I think it's gonna go higher too, but
Is there alpha in the Doge hood pair? I'm curious.
Doge hood pair?
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Because you can buy Doge through Robinhood. That was, I think, a huge reason why it ended up popping off the way that it did. So maybe some of that cap, like maybe people were holding Hood. Maybe Hood is going to buy some Doge. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe there's alpha in this pair. It looks a bit like an oscillator.
It just does that. At some point, it's going to get a big spike again.
We're getting close to the bottom of that range.
Yeah.
I mean, how long does it usually? Nope, I don't want that.
This is a great demonstration on market timing.
150 days.
Holding
alt season, guys. Alt season happens when Doge BTC is pumping. It's always been that way.
150 days. This pair is going to bleed till July, probably the 1st of July. Wow. If that's consistent at all. It's all about 150 days until it pops. So, I mean, we need to, hold on, we need to overlay some. What the hell? Total free. What am I doing? There. Some sort of siren going somewhere. Boom, boom. No, that was bad. 2022, obviously. Post having year. Yeah. I mean, I'd expect us to track. Doge hood, kind of a nice oscillating indicator for total 3 outperformance.
I kind of feel like Hood's getting ready to pull back, maybe a tweak, but I mean, it's a monster. Like, that is a freaking monster.
Jeez, man.
The fact that it just gives you these basically like 50% dips out of nowhere and immediately has V recovered both of them is just insane to me.
Yeah, this and then this. Was it all earnings garbage? Earnings topped it. Earnings bottomed it here. Yeah.
Well, I've rode both of these and has been one of my best stock plays, so I'm happy.
Why didn't we just coal port this?
And I'm not using Robinhood either. I'm just using it to grow my equity.
Man, the thing that's annoying to me about Robinhood is a friend asked me, like, what's a stock that you really like? He asked me this last year. I gave Robinhood the price I thought it would hit, which was like $70 or $75. And I also gave him the exact quarter I thought it would hit, which was Q2 of 2025. Did I hold Hood? No. He's like, wow, this guy got it exactly right. He got the price and the exact time of the year. And I'm just
And you must have made a lot of money.
Sounds like forever repeating story.
Oh my God. The life of a market participant, man.
Yeah, Tommy filled out the form. That's funny. Kind of a quiet day out there. Bitcoin not doing much. ETH not doing much.
It is, but you know what the return profile is for Thursdays, Tucker?
Yeah, I do. I do.
I feel like return profiles, but by days of the week has actually been really good alpha for the last week. I hope that doesn't dissipate as more people become familiar with it. But Tuesdays are the most bullish day of the week, almost always, for altcoins. Yesterday we pumped on altcoins. Thursdays are kind of known as the red day. I don't know. I guess if we get through Thursday, maybe we just keep chopping. God forbid, that would just be awful.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't see how.
What
I just don't see how these lows are holding on BTC.
Jackets, bro. Let it go, man. They're holding.
Jackets, I feel like I can see that dollar fractal just actively playing out on the AVE chart.
Let me know what you mean. I'm not sure.
Just, I mean, like the inverse dollar, right? You just kind of
on the AVE chart.
Yeah, I feel like it's playing out on AVE pretty cleanly.
Yeah, I know what you mean now.
Do I need to invert AVE or no?
Probably not. I mean, I just think, you know, the dollar repriced back to the lows. We're probably about to see assets like AVE repriced back to the highs. Same with ETH and probably Pepe.
Yes. Where I think, I still think that Pepe goes like later, but I think it will go and it will go hard just later on.
I see what you're talking about here, kind of. Maybe I need to zoom in a little bit more.
Yeah, like AVE just looks like it's at that 104, 105 spot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Guys, you might have to end up the show right now.
No. Really? Come on, man. It's so easy to hit the like button. I remember when we would get like 300 or 400 likes. Does the market have to be going straight up in a straight line for that to be the case?
Yeah, it does.
Seems so.
Jeez.
114, Tommy.
Well, I'm in a good mood, so I won't make them look at soybeans. However, I will have you guys take a look at something that is a very, very useful tool to be navigating these markets.
Tired of outdated trading tools, confused charts, dozens of tabs, endless stress? You're not alone. Introducing BB Terminal, your all-in-one command center for crypto trading. Track your portfolio, monitor the markets, stay ahead, all in one place. From chaos to clarity, from struggle to success. Terminal.
All right. You guys can't see me backstage, but I'm vibing to these songs that we play with the ads. I gotta say, Jackus and Tucker can attest. I'm not LARPing when I say that.
Oh yeah, he's dancing
Yeah.
the whole time. It's fun.
Yeah, every single time. Even when the outro is on and you guys are closing the stream, he's still there vibing.
Study being the enjoyer.
Enjoyer.
Ave looks good, man. I
It
like
does, but the like button doesn't look good.
That's true. I feel like, I mean, Jackus, do you think Ave is going to make lows lower than 240 if it pulls back?
I think it can, make 240. I think it will, but I don't think sub 200 anymore is likely.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I mean, it is still likely, it's just very little likely.
Wait, is this Bitcoin? Is this the future of Bitcoin right here, Jackus? Is Bitcoin right here?
No.
Oh man, maybe though. Maybe. Could be. What else do we want to look at? Dude. There we go.
Soybeans.
Oh no.
Oh no. Maybe what's something that's like a yield that's like relevant, but nobody really wants let's just look at this.
Like Japanese 30-year yields.
Yeah, we should do the Japanese. Yeah.
I need to look at the Polish long end.
The Polish long end.
The 30-year in US is dumping today, actually, which is good. It's very good.
Honestly, it's pretty encouraging to me that TLT looks as dire as it does, and US equities basically repriced to the all-time highs.
Yeah.
What's the Japanese one called?
Are you just talking about USD/JPY or?
No, this one. There it is. Yeah, there we go.
I will say that does not look the best. USD/JPY.
Really?
What's new?
This is up only.
Jesus.
The bond yields, which means the bonds are down only. So
Yeah.
I think USD/JPY will bounce out of here.
0.
Yeah, it actually probably should. TLT bottoms, USD/JPY bottoms, risk on until those show weakness again, I'm guessing.
We're gonna have to do this. That's probably the future of it right there, Tommy.
I think that is what it's going to do.
Yeah. Probably.
That'll be fun to navigate next year.
This right here, yeah.
What is the crime of the day, guys? I like that rubric.
BRB, let me find it.
TRB.
Yeah, it is TRB actually.
Is it pumping again? Oh no. TRB is pumping again, Anon. Are you taking profits? Don't you know? Pump it up.
More crime has been committed on the TRB chart than the Solana blockchain.
Is this even the full history? I don't even think it is.
It is. But the weekly almost like makes you think it's a scam wick.
Yeah.
Or it makes you think that it was a fat finger that didn't actually happen.
Yeah, no, this did happen.
This was very real.
Yeah.
God, them sending TRB up 600% on New Year's Eve and then rugging it.
Was it New Year's Eve?
It was.
Dude. That's crazy.
That's so awful.
That's crazy.
There was probably somebody who got rugged on their New Year's Day with a heavy tax liability from the year before. God, that would be a nightmare. Courtesy of DWF. What do I think of Ross getting a $31 million donation? Well, I mean, it's probably not a donation, right? Or it's a donation from Ross to Ross. He's probably got so much Bitcoin. Like, dust wallets of Bitcoin for him, you know, in the same way that we would have maybe 20 or 30 bucks lying in some ETH wallet somewhere. He's probably got like tens of millions of dollars worth of Bitcoin just from how early he was using it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was like pennies when he built that.
He's probably a billionaire, right?
Gotta be. Gotta be, dude.
If I had to guess, he's probably like slowly finding spots that he had seed phrases and just, you know, getting his money back.
He knew exactly where they all were. For sure. Yeah. He's just going to slowly donate them to himself.
Honestly, it's a great example of picking the right spouse because the fact that his wife definitely knew where the Bitcoin was and she didn't run off with it. So she a real one.
She a real one. Yeah.
Jackus, do you think Pepe is going to make a lower low and then kind of spring out of it pretty aggressively?
I think so.
Damn it, Jackus. I mean,
kind of what I'm thinking.
I've been saying I think we're here to some degree. Like just the way, and it looks even kind of better on the low time frames, like, you know, that and then, you know, which maybe would imply one more drop depending on the time frame you're looking at. But
what I'm not certain if this drop is going to front run that obvious swing high or go deep into it.
yeah.
Passive bid ors in shambles. No, I kind of thinking the same thing. I will say, I think the deeper it drops, probably the bigger the rip that it's loading. Actually, I don't know.
Oh yeah,
but
oh yeah.
I think if this gives you like a really deep drop, it's probably about to reprice like dramatically higher.
Oh yeah. It's going to be phenomenal. Make
ETH great again.
I kind of want this thing to finally happen, because when it does, I think this is the last kind of scary drop of the past years. Sort of. It's going to be just local, but it's going to be scary nonetheless. And after that, only good times comes in. I think the future, of course, there's going to be scary drops in the future, but from much higher, much quicker. It will not be so drawn out as the current one. It will be way different. I think I think the turnaround will be, yeah, I think it will be quick and exciting. Finally, I think right now the market is, although BTC is where it is, I think the market is really like bored and exhausted and depressed still. And I think that pump after this drop will be what brings the vibes back, slowly at first and then quickly later.
Yeah. I mean, you need wealth effect from not Bitcoin clearly to reignite that sentiment, but from ETH and things like Solana, because those are going to be the things that most people are going to be holding that are speculating on these altcoins at the end of the day. Or, you know, you just increase the hot ball of money, which I do think will eventually happen when we start to see some of these altcoin ETFs get rolled out, but we're not there yet. and we have Bitcoin. We don't even have a staking ETF yet for ETH. So I think that those things are coming down the line is what I'm saying, but they're not. They're probably a pretty far way away. But I do think, in the interim, ETH summer.
The crazy part is that e-staking ETF opens up the room for any other staking ETF, by the way.
You ready for Dash staking ETF?
Dash is proof of work, so
Oh, is that? I genuinely didn't even know.
yeah.
Well, we got to get Sol futures, then spot Sol, then Sol staking.
We don't even have Sol futures.
I don't think so.
We do. We have Sol. We do have Sol CME futures. Yes.
Yeah, I was gonna say we have to.
They are new, but they are there.
Now we need spot, and then we need staking. Yeah.
I'm actually not sure how many single assets from crypto will have a single ETF. I think BTC, ETH, Sol, maybe XRP. Don't see the others like BNB, probably not. Link, probably not. What else is there? AVE, maybe.
I think they should do like basket ETFs, because if you have so many that it's just going to it is going to dilute it in the sense that people aren't going to have any idea what these things actually do. Most natives don't even know what these things do. If you just kind of come up with like a DeFi basket, though, I think that's attractive to a traditional or an institutional investor who doesn't
have top 10, top 25, top 50.
You need DJY, top 30. Then you need SPX Crypto 500. It's just what it is. And then Wilshire 5000.
IWM.
Well, I think too, if you basket these assets together, then it becomes the ETF issuer's responsibility to pick good assets, because the performance is going to be entirely down to, the ETF issuer at that point. Like, you'll have individual coins that will be doing well, but if one basket is clearly outperforming the other, then investors would rather trade there, I imagine.
Well, you're talking about actively managed, right?
Right.
Passive.
Well, maybe not even actively managed, but if we're just talking about like ETFs that, I'm just going to go back to the DeFi example. Say you had a DeFi ETF of AVE, Maker, Link, maybe like 2 or 3 other assets. You kind of have to pick winners, because otherwise your ETF will get outperformed by fund managers who do understand DeFi and probably pick the right ones. But maybe it is actively managed, right? Like, who knows? That might be a little bit too loosey-goosey for the regulatory bodies, but
I think you will get like a whole DeFi ETF. That makes sense. You can put in stuff even like CRV. There needs to be like 30 of those at least in it, because otherwise it's just too concentrated. So DeFi makes sense, RWAs makes sense, AI, so these 3 would make sense. And then again, top 30, top 500, or something like that. And again, from the single ones, BTC, ETH, Sol and XRP probably makes sense alone. But apart from that, those baskets. And that's what is going to create a very strong permabit into the market.
Yeah, I almost wonder if you're an ETF issuer, when do you roll out like a joint Bitcoin ETH ETF? Because right now, I almost feel like if ETH outperforms the summer, we might start seeing them pop off in the second half of this year, because there's not really a reason to be issuing a Bitcoin and ETH ETF when Bitcoin has been outperforming the market to this degree. But, if ETH were to go on a run, reprice back to the highs, see a big move on ETH BTC, which that last part maybe we'll see on, but maybe you start to see these joint ETFs get issued, and yeah, you see that permabid come in for ETH as well, which will have a much larger relative impact for ETH than it will Bitcoin.
I don't think BTC ETH together is coming soon.
You don't?
I don't. I think ETH on its own is coming soon from like a with the staking in it, and these two will be separate. The B's ETH probably much later on, when they are more or less trading at par, and the move that there's not much difference between the two, then maybe. But yeah.
Get a cat coin ETF.
Cat coin ETF. Meme coin ETF would be interesting.
Oh God, I'd be afraid to see what gets picked in a meme coin ETF.
Imagine boomers. What is this meme ETF and how do I buy it?
Dude, it would be terrible. It'd be like moved in and like they would pick all like animals for sure.
You'd get like a collection of the biggest animal meme coins. So most of the outperformance is already finished.
Like Peanut and like,
oh God,
no,
chill guy.
yeah, dude.
Oh, God.
Yeah, the thing is that there isn't much of these, right? And that has solidified itself. So right now it would probably be just like Doge, Sheep, Flocky, and maybe Pepe. And I don't even know what else.
Probably just pick the memes on Coinbase, if I had to guess, or Robinhood. Just let them do the asset selection for you. But I don't know. I mean, we're getting there slowly but surely.
Yeah.
I feel like when we tend to get these ETF issuances, they all tend to happen at the same time. So I would argue we haven't quite had the conditions this year yet for that to happen, but it's clearly coming. I mean, we can see it already baked into the ETH strength, I feel like, right now. But I feel like that's a good spot for us to wrap the show up. What do you guys think?
Agreed.
Sure.
Yeah, well, we hope that you guys enjoyed the show today. Market Check will be, even if you didn't hit the like button, right? If you did, shout out to you guys especially. But we'll be back for another episode of Market Check tomorrow at 11:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Also, make sure to check out Market Talk, hosted by the legendary King Wabi. That is our afternoon show. If you're looking for a way to finish out your day, head over to the Because Bitcoin X account or Wabi's account so you can be notified, not just when we schedule those spaces, but also when we go live. As far as product shows go, we'll keep it light for you guys today. We will show an ad on the way out, and I'm not going to be able to emphasize it enough. I can't emphasize it enough. Sorry, my cat is actively attacking me while I'm giving this outro. I'm multitasking. You can see his ears right now if you look, but yeah. Hi.
My cat is attacking me. We have a sticker for that even in BB Discord.
We
You guys can join the BB Discord too. That is also linked below. But the BB Terminal, guys, is your go-to tool for this cycle, whether or not you are an active trader, lower time frames, open interest, derivatives. I know that's not everybody's cup of tea. We also have huge utility and tools for you as well if you are a long-term investor looking to use data-driven if you're looking to use data to help you drive long-term decisions. And also for our on-chainers, our trench warriors, our meme coiners, maybe that is shifting back towards ETH. It really doesn't matter what chain you find yourself on. We've got the tool for you as well. So check out the BB Terminal, guys. You can even try it out for free. Portfolio tracking, also linked in the description below. But that's it from us, guys. Like I said, we hope that you enjoyed the show. We'll be back for another episode tomorrow. But until then, thanks again. And of course, stay safe.
Every morning, coffee in hand, I open up the BB Terminal. We built this platform to be your trusted companion, whether you're actively trading, investing for the long haul, or even dabbling in the degen space. Let's start with the BB portfolio. It integrates with over 60 blockchain networks and supports both wallet connections and manual entries. making it flexible enough for any trader. On the active page, you'll find advanced charting tools, complete with more than 21 custom scripts to give you deeper insights. Beneath that, our intuitive heat map helps you spot key support and resistance levels easily. But we know active trading isn't everyone's style, so we created the DCA page, equipped with over 35 thoughtful indicators. It's designed to assist you in making informed, strategic, and long-term investment decisions. We're genuinely proud of what we've created here at BB, and we continually strive to improve it every day.